Hi, I'm Joshua Kemble, and this is my Vloggins. So I was really stoked last night to have a really good conversation with my buddy Rick Reese, a good friend of mine from school. It's cool to see that like Cal State Long Beach saw his potential as a teacher and have invested in him and also like put him in the chairship. Like, that's just badass, and I'm really proud of my buddy. So there's that. Let's see, other than that, like that, so that was on Artcasters, which was a really good episode. I really kind of encourage you guys to check it out. And then aside from that, like, I am just heading to work where I work as a full-time art director. The other nice thing about last night is I managed to finish the third panel on the 5th page of my crazy pitch project I've been working on for a couple weeks. And I think a little over 2 weeks now. And so I'm hoping to kind of knock those pages out so we can get them going out to different publishers and hopefully get that story picked up. The one thing I realized about the panel I finished, though, I posted it on my Instagram. I usually post things as I do them. And the one thing that I would say about that I need to fix is like actually adding darker shadows, because it's a sequence where there's like a floating hand, but it's an illusion. Obviously people don't have floating hands, and so basically I need to darken the area under the hand so it's a little more believable, and then dim the room a little bit. But honestly, that's a couple more passes of gray and it should be good. By the way, who am I? I'm Joshua Kemble, and this is my illustration Vloggins. And this is the vlog where I talk about, the process of creating my artwork, and also hold myself accountable to my own personal goals. And so that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. And I'm just really insanely curious to see kind of where that ends up and what I'm able to do with that. So that's that. I am feeling really good tonight. I'm probably not going to get a ton of art done. I am guessing that it'll be pretty busy, because I am going to be hanging out with my buddy Jake, who I haven't seen in years, and I want to catch up with friends, and we're of course doing like a socially distanced hangout, but it's just one of those things of like, I don't want to miss out on like kind of seeing my friend as he's visiting from Washington. So so that should be pretty cool. But that means tonight I may not get a ton done. I will also say that it's going to be a crazy weekend, because tomorrow is my sister's birthday, and then the day after that we have to help unload all of my sister-in-law's stuff, because she needed a place to kind of keep all her stuff from her room. She's having to move, and so we're kind of storing her stuff and hoping she'll be able to find a job like close to the Antelope Valley where we live. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes, but so far I'm pretty optimistic that'll work out. I also have started dipping my toes a little bit into doing stocks, and I am really risk averse. So what I'm going to do is try to invest like $1 a day, if I can, into different various stocks, using just like Robinhood, the app, and we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to do like high risk stuff. My thought is like just to like invest in companies that I really believe in and I feel solidly about, and do it as like not so much a money-making scheme as just like a way to support companies that I really think are going to succeed, and kind of get that going. So that's what I did, and I literally just put in like microtransactions, so it's like $1 here, $1 there, a little tiny bit into cryptocurrency, so I have like a 0.001 whatever on cryptocurrency. And what was cool was it was an unusual market low because of some political stuff, yesterday, and so I was actually pleased because my little microtransactions so far are up in the stock market, so it'll be interesting to see. My hope is to like really have some self-control in what I do with those transactions, and of course like keep my primary interest in savings and like more reliable income. But yeah, so that's a new thing for me. I don't often think about like kind of returns or anything like that when it comes to my own money. So I'm kind of excited about that. And then aside from that, like I am just feeling really pumped after a good conversation with a good friend of mine. Rick is a really inspiring guy. He was one of my mentors in school. It really kind of helped me learn the ropes of how to teach and how to work professionally and stuff like that. And he's one of those dudes that like the time where I was at in my life when I met him, I may not have been as successful in illustration had it not been for him being a rad teacher who kind of helps you out and stuff. So so there's that. Other than that, I am basically just thinking today about the topic of like kind of the importance of retaining relationships and friendships. And I think that like for creatives especially, we often like hunker down. Like I know I hunker down a lot and just work and like kind of forget about friendships and forget about touching base with people I really care about. Anytime I do, I feel like I'm rewarded for it, and it's something that I'm reminded like, oh yeah, I actually really dig doing this. So like it's something I need to continue to do and invest in people and invest in my friends. You know, sometimes investments are financial and sometimes they're just time-based investments. And I really think to me, like, you know, tonight, like, while the part of me that wants to be rigid and I do really well with consistent routines, it's also like super important for someone like me who gets stuck in these workflows to do stuff outside of work to feed the work. So my hope is like tonight to just kind of hang out with friends and kind of get refreshed. But I'm not sure how much comicking I'm going to get done, especially tonight. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll also have to see how the day goes and see what happens and stuff like that. But I am really also super appreciative to everybody who showed up and like in the live stream yesterday for Artcasters. It was really cool. I'm thankful to Corey, who's just a badass, like good stand-up dude who like he makes me glad that I'm like that I have online friends. And also he was like a champ for like subbing in and just being down. Like, I mean, the dude is so busy in his life to like take the time to like sub in for Scott and co-host Artcasters was like a really cool thing. So yeah, so that's basically that, and we'll just kind of see where we end up. But it is interesting seeing all these different possibilities, and yeah, I'm kind of excited about seeing where we can go with that for like art and getting things done, and like hopefully like being part of the change that you want to see in the world, which I'm totally rambling, but and I just realized like that transition probably didn't make a lot of sense. But like as I'm driving, I'm thinking about that too. Like one of the things I always really appreciated about Rick and a lot of the instructors that I had, like Robin Richardson and the Cal State Long Beach people that I knew, all my classmates, like you know, I mean, just these incredibly talented people. One of my favorite things about that group of people is the idea of and Scott and Corey, like all my online friends. It's like that I've made later in life, like, and have been just like super fortunate to have developed those friendships and relationships. Like, one of the things I like about that is you're basically very fortunate in life if you have people around you who want to be the change, like who want to actually be a positive change, who want to be creative, who want to feed that part of their soul, and honestly, like, we're just very fortunate as people if we can kind of have those relationships in our lives, and also remember to do that. Like, often in life you can kind of end up in this rut where you are just kind of plugging away and hoping to kind of wait for the time. Like, I had this realization a few years ago where it's like I realized, like, a lot of people are just kind of waiting for things. Like, they'll have the attitude and I catch myself doing it sometimes, of like, I'll be a good dad when, I'll be a good friend when, I need to make so much money and then I can hang out with my kid. I need to make so much money and then I can do my own graphic novel. I need to do my own money and then I can be a gig poster artist. And then there's a whole group of people who do that. Like, they sit in a waiting room. It's very much like that Fugazi song, Sitting in a Waiting Room. And people are just sitting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And the weird thing about life is, like, that you don't often get much from that. Like, you don't tend to see results from that, from kind of sitting and waiting. What tends to happen in life, at least in my life, is when I make the time to be a good father, when I make the time to be a good friend, when I make the time to go out there and invest and, like, create content, like whether it's a show like Artcasters, these vlogs, which are kind of weird, and to be honest, like, doing the process of these vlogs feels weird, because it's like, I'm like an old dude who's talking to a camera, and yet what's cool is, just by investing and actually being like, this is something I'd like to do, it would be fun to create like a community and try to kind of reach out to people online, so I find like-minded people, and even for promoting my book, like, I'm seeking out the kind of people who want the kind of art that I make, like, which is a small niche audience, and I want that niche, and I'm trying to find that niche, and so, like, finding my community, finding the people that are my kind of people, and like, that's kind of my goal, is like to find other artists and like reach out with artists. And I just think, like, I could do two things. I could be like, maybe I'll wait to do these vlogs. Maybe I'll wait till I have the right camera, and then I'll do vlogs and stuff, and create content to seek out that audience. But then I realized, like, I have a phone, I have a car, like, instead of waiting for the time, I'm like, oh, well, I have time. I have, like, a good, long, really, like, typical LA commute to get to work, and it's like, during that commute, I can be doing something, and generating something, and trying to contribute and make something, and at least I'm taking an active role in trying to kind of make change and trying to make things happen. And similarly, like, that's something I realized with stocks. Like, I don't particularly like the idea of gambling, but the idea of, like, micro investments on a daily basis that could potentially improve my future, like, that to me seems like a really worthwhile endeavor, and so I'm gonna dip my toes in. And hey, maybe I can't put in a ton and buy, like, full stocks, but I can buy, like, little micro transaction stocks and see how that goes. And by the way, I'm not recommending people do that. In fact, I'd actually recommend against it until you're out of debt, particularly like credit debt, and you have like a decent amount in savings and stuff. I think you need your kind of backup in savings, and you need to do like solid things, and then occasionally you can kind of play at investing. But my point is, and I'm not a financial guy at all, but my point is just like, my personality is the type that wants to do incremental changes and be a part of a change and be a part of something positive and be a part of making art, like with capital A, like big, powerful, important art, that like maybe nobody cares about, but like I think that that's worthwhile, and I think it's worth investing in because I believe in art, I believe in people, I believe in progress, I believe in change, right? So that's kind of what's on my mind right now. I am curious what you guys are up to right now. Are you out there being the change? Are you actively out there trying to kind of like do something positive or contribute? Or are you on the fence about something, like where you're like, I want to do, you know, like YouTube content, and then maybe you're sitting on the fence about it rather than just get out there and just make YouTube content. If not, if you want to engage with a creator that you really admire, like reach out to them. And also, like, you know, if you have friends you haven't seen in a long time, it might be a good time to like reach out to them and hang out, because like Rick is one of those guys, like we're both people with families and crazy time-consuming careers, and it's just like I think it's super essential to just kind of actually reach out every once in a while, because like with us, we don't get to hang out a lot or talk a lot, and we'll go years without talking, but when we talk and hang out, it's like, oh yeah, this is why, this is one of my dudes. So anyhow, yeah, that's what's on my mind. It might be kind of corny and optimistic, but it's a Friday, I'm heading to work, and then I'm actually going to do like a Friday weekend kind of thing, and try to tell the part of myself that it has workaholism issues, that it's okay to kind of experience life, and also like every once in a while you need to feed all elements of your soul, and one of those things that you really need to feed is friendships. So yeah, so that'll basically do it for this Vloggins. I am gonna continue, damned if I do or damned if I don't, to do these posts and do these silly vlogs, and you know, and just be thankful for, like, with, you know, like if one person takes the time out of their day, their valuable you know, earned resource, like their resource of time, and they invest that in me, that's very cool, and I really appreciate it, and I'm thankful for it, whether it's like 10 people or 100, you know, and yeah, I mean, that's basically it. But I will say, like, just, you know, think about the concept of like being the change. I know it's corny, it's very cliche, it's like a trope-like thing, but I think that like our outlook in life, you know, can really affect like what we do and how we live our lives, and how we live like the life of an artist, or we live the life of like a consumer, and like just business guy, you know. And to me, it's like the big difference with artists, to me, is that we're kind of invested in making this thing that's a little bit beyond commerce, and a little bit beyond money. It's about like expressing our soul, and about communication of really complex ideas, and internal ideas that can't be expressed in words. And so I always think of, like, we actually mentioned Ian MacKaye like a couple, I think last night in the conversation, and one of my favorite quotes by Ian MacKaye is, he was talking about how skateboarding helped him view life in a different way, and I think it kind of ties into what I'm talking about, where it's like with skateboarding, you kind of take things, you recontextualize them, and you turn them into like opportunities that may not even be their intended use. And so like you can look at like a sidewalk as just a person who doesn't skate. And keep in mind, I don't skateboard anymore. I used to skateboard all the time, and I was never all that good at it. But you can look at like a curb, and you can see the possibility of what that can be. Like as a skateboarder, you're not just looking at a curb like a normal person is on a sidewalk and going like, well, that's a curb on a sidewalk. As a skateboarder, you're like, that's a launching ramp. Like that's something that's a hurdle that I can jump over. That's a thing that I can do these tricks on. Like you're looking at something that was intended for one use and recontextualizing it and turning it into something it may not have even been intended to be, but it's way cooler and it's way more fun, and it's full of opportunity. And so like that's kind of what is on my mind right now. And I'm gonna get to work now at my day job where I work as an art director, and then I hopefully can get back to it. So all right, dudes, I will talk to you in like on the next Vloggins. So yeah.